Welcome to our exciting adventure as we embark on a journey through the pristine wilderness of Riding Mountain National Park, Canada. Join us as we immerse ourselves in the breathtaking landscapes, encounter the rich culture and history of Indigenous community, and savor delicious traditional foods. Get ready for a nature lover's dream. We'll hike through the lush forest, spot wildlife and their natural habitat, and soak in the serenity of crystal clear lakes. Our journey takes us deeper as we meet with Indigenous communities who call this land home. We'll learn about their traditions, share stories, and gain insights into their unique way of life. As we engage in meaningful conversations with the locals, we will discuss their teachings, exchange thoughts on cultural preservations, and appreciate the wisdom passed down through generations. Food brings people together, and we are in for a treat. Join us as we savor traditional Indigenous dishes, sharing laughter, stories, and cherished moments around the communal table. This vlog is more than just a travel experience. It is a celebration of the natural beauty, cultural richness, and the wonderful people who make Riding Mountain National Park a true Canadian treasure. I hope you guys will like and appreciate what we are presenting and offering through this vlog. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. Now, let us hear stories and prophecies by elders of the Indigenous community in Canada.
Started again too with there's the prophecies that were talked about, and one had to do with the landing on the moon by the first people that landed on the moon. When they landed, the first words they sent back was the eagle has landed. And the prophecies of the old people a while back have been, they said when the eagle lands on the moon, that's when the change will begin for the native people, because we're going to rise up above everything that has ever been done to us before, because the people will be coming to us for answers again. They're looking for a new way of life. We've had that life since they've come into our home, but they tried to stomp us out and destroy us. Now they're looking for it again. So now, from the prophecies of our grandfathers going back 7 generations, they're what they see is that we have to welcome those people back into our home again and accept them as family, because they came from the same mother that we came from, the earth. Everything that we see, again, is the creator. It's the creation of life. It's the creator. It's who we are. And there's no other way to explain it except that when our body goes into the earth, everybody should be aware and know that one day our bodies will become the soil, and then it'll become the insects, it'll become the plants, and it'll become everything that we see. So our ancestors are everything that we see, that are they're our ancestors right now, everything that we see. And they're the ones that are looking after us when we eat the food off of what's growing. Those are our ancestors. They're giving the dust and the blood, the bones of who they are, so that we can live. So when we go out to gather anything that we need, we were given that tobacco to give us an offering to say thank you for giving up your life so that we can live. But all these things we forgot about because of the colonial mind that we were introduced to over 500 years ago. But for me, my grandma and grandpa helped to open up that memory again so that I can look back to the beginning. That was the journey and the gift that I received, because I wouldn't give up my journey looking for grandma and grandpa so that I can talk to them. And when I was honored with that privilege to sit with them, I had what the system calls as an education, a school system. I never went through any of that. I made it to grade 5 because they kept pushing me into the next grade because they didn't want me back there anymore. And they couldn't keep putting me back because there's no else, so they had to push me ahead. And then once I entered into the 5th grade, that's when that was the end of it. I was in 5th grade for maybe a few weeks. And that was it. That was for my schooling. So that was my education. And when I came out of there, I still didn't really know how to read and write. When I ended up in the penitentiary, there were a few of the brothers that helped me to learn to read and write, because I didn't want anybody to know. I kept quiet about it. And they helped me to learn to read and write because I was getting involved in that jailhouse politics. And there were a lot of papers and stuff that I wanted to know about, and I couldn't read, so I had to figure out how to read. So I first learned how to read, and then I started to figure out the papers that these people had wrote, and it had to do with our way of life and our cultural and spiritual beliefs. That's from the prisoners that had been there before me over the years. And that was their story and what they were looking for too. And when I was reading their paperwork and I started to think back about my grandparents and the way that we had once lived a long time ago, it started to open some of the memories. So then I started to get involved in it, and then I brought all our brothers together. There was over 350 of us that came together as what they call a brotherhood, because it wasn't before that. It was just a name of a group of people that were running around pretending to be leading the people in whatever direction, but they helped us to see with what they were asking in the papers who we are, because I didn't remember who I was anymore, and I figured that's true. Maybe those old people might know some of the answers and help me to figure out who I am and why I'm here, why I'm locked up in a cage for something that I didn't do since I was a child. I don't remember doing anything so bad that I would be beaten all my life and in prison now, so, and accused of all the things they accused me of, because I knew I wasn't guilty of all the things that they had me locked up for. I was the victim of the things that they were accusing me of, and just to break me away from my grandparents, I guess, a spiritual way of life, living and remembering. But they didn't know that I was already connected from in that way from my grandma and grandpa when I was a little child. And that was the reason they couldn't train me, because I had the memory of grandma and grandpa during my childhood that protected me through those difficult times, because I wouldn't let all their ugliness. I let it in, but I didn't let it in enough, I guess, because at some point they had to come and get me to bring me out of that place, because I didn't want to see any more days here, because I figured I wasn't worth the air, the breathing of the air, that every morning when I woke up there was nothing to wake up to except more people looking down on me and calling me names or beating on me, or my struggle to find some kind of a drug to kill the pain of what the minds of these professionals done to me over the years. They call themselves professionals. They call themselves a lot of different names that hold themselves higher above the people, but they're not. They're a thing that they call our four-legged relatives. They're the animals. They have no compassion for anything. They'll rip anything apart and eat it. They devour everything they see. Everywhere they go, they leave nothing but death behind. So we have to get away from it, and the only way is to leave them behind, not to have anything to do with them. As long as we keep living and working in their way of life, we're still adding to their collection. So the only way is to stop. So we gotta go back home. We gotta go back to the forest and live with our relatives there and get the healing that we need from our relatives. Our relatives are the trees. Our relatives are everything that live there, the winged ones, the four-legged ones, the ones that live in the water, everything that we see. Those are our family. And when we start to live among them, it'll calm the ugliness that was inside of us and help us to find our way home a lot easier. Because at that moment we should be able to have one another, to be able to hold one another. When we're hurting inside, we need to hold one another and comfort one another. They took that away from us too, by making us feel ugly when we tried to comfort one another. They made it sound dirty and feel dirty, because that's who they are. And that's what they're putting in our minds. So we have to leave that behind. A family doesn't feel dirty when they hold one another. They hold one another to comfort each other. We did that throughout our gathering over the past few days. We comfort one another. When our brother or sister would shed the tears, we'd hold on to them and we'd cry with them. We'd help them to release that ugliness that was put into their mind and our mind. So for us, my little brother here, grandson, I guess he wants to call me grandpa, but I'm not that old, I told him. So maybe uncle or ate would be a good one, because ate means father in our language. And that was what my nieces and nephews have been calling me, is ate. So he's a part of the journey. He's a part of my family. He's my son. Like some of the other family that I came across in a short while, they're my family. As I said, I would create a new family, and my grandmother and my grandfathers are a part of that journey and helping me to find the ones that I need to find now, because we're coming into a difficult time on our journey and we need one another. So you'll hear soon of a place where you can come and gather and find your way home. Our little brother here is a good heart, a good man. He'll help us with putting out the word so that everybody will hear what we have to offer. What we have to offer is the truth, where we came from and who we are.
Our journey has been a transformative experience, and we hope it has touched your heart as much as it has touched ours. This journey has been a testament to the power of nature, the resilience of Indigenous communities, and the value of culture exchange. We encourage you to explore this remarkable park, engage with its incredible inhabitants, and carry the spirit of this adventure with you in all your travels. Thank you for being a part of our incredible journey. Subscribe now and let the adventure begin.